What's up, friends? Welcome back to another episode of Andre Unchained. This one's a bit of a special one, close to my heart, because I've got a guest on who has really helped me on a journey that I think for most of us is a personal journey, and this one is diet. So, long story short, I have been training in mixed martial arts for years, love the actual sport and the community itself, have loads of friends in it, and decided that I wanted to compete. And in order to compete, I needed to keep my weight on point. So I enlisted the services of probably one of the most renowned dieticians for athletes and in particular for fighters, known as STRIVE Dietetics. And both Christoph and Vincent Vaccaro are the two gentlemen who are basically in charge of my diet. And I kept in close contact with Vincent. And Vincent pretty much laid out an incredible diet plan for me, which I have post deciding that I don't want to actually compete anymore after loads of injuries, that I'm going to stick to because it enabled me to control my weight. It made me feel good. It was really simple to keep up and maintain. So I told them I want to share that with my viewers because it's not just for fighters. This is for anybody who, wants to take control of their diet and take control of their weight. And the diet that they put me on just did that. And Vincent's very knowledgeable. He's an incredible dude, young guy who's just so much fun to chat to. We talked about so many aspects of nutrition and nutrition in particular in the fight industry and for athletes in general. Anyway, I can't wait to present this episode to you guys. Vincent Vaccaro from STRIVE Dietetics. Enjoy. It's nice to finally put a face to the voice. Yeah. Because we would speak quite often on the phone. I would badger you about my meal plan so much. I thought, man, this guy thinks I must be so fucking annoying.
Nah, not at all.
Do you get that when you're working with a lot of athletes, them constantly wanting to change things up or?
Yeah, there's some people that want to talk more and have that communication.
Yeah.
But others maybe a bit more, they're just, here and there. But I'd say I prefer people wanting to communicate with me.
Yeah, you can bring that mic a little bit closer. Yeah. Just pull it in.
Yeah,
just
I prefer
pull it in.
For sure.
Yeah, just a bit more active, right?
Yeah, with like you said, you're badgering me. I never felt like you're badgering me. Cool. I like that. I like communicating with people.
I'm just so curious about everything to do with diet. You know, because, there's so much misinformation out there. I'm wanting to learn as well as I'm wanting to, improve the quality of, my intake.
Yeah.
And okay, we've never discussed it. No, I was thinking about it the other day. You know how when you enlist the services of people and their services are life-changing. Yeah. They actually improve the quality of life, but you never really get to know who that person is. Or why they are doing what they do. Yeah. So I was really curious as to where you came from and how did you end up here today?
Yeah. Well, that's a great starting question. Well, I went to a Catholic private school, Catholic school.
Mm-hmm. Whereabouts?
I was in Fairfield. It was called Shout Out to Patrician Brothers College, Fairfield.
Oh, Patrician Brothers.
Yeah, it was an all-boys school.
I remember that school.
Yeah. So I went to school there, done my ATAR, got a pretty good ATAR. I went to uni, did a bachelor's, and then I did a master's, 6 years studying, and then become an accredited dietitian.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hectic. And I would imagine there's so many different fields that you could probably get involved in.
Yeah.
What was it that brought you to dietitian?
Yeah. So it's the fact you can help people, honestly, make an impact, help people. That's one of the keys. And it's one of those fields, if I'm the best dietitian I can be, if I'm an exceptional dietitian, that's only going to benefit other people. So it's not selfish in trying to be really good at what you want to, what you do. Yeah. So I can strive and be the best, and it's not selfish. It's because if I'm the best, if I'm an exceptional dietitian, everyone I work with is going to benefit.
100%. Yeah. There is a sense of selflessness involved in that because it's not one of those industries that a lot of people they know about or know who to turn to, for example. So when they do, you've got to have that really strong sense of knowledge about it, so that you can make them feel really comfortable. And that's how I felt with you when we did our dealings as well too. And so I know for myself, at the beginning, I was struggling to just figure out how to do anything to do with my diet.
Yeah.
You got so much misinformation online, the bro science stuff that you see on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know how to tailor something to suit me.
Yeah.
And I was wanting to compete in mixed martial arts. And I just knew that if I didn't get my nutrition in check, that it just wasn't going to be a possibility. Yeah. And I remember in my gym, all of the fighters, they kept saying, Strive, you got to go see Strive. So I thought, all right, I'm going to check out these guys. Now, there are a lot of sports dietitians out there, as you can imagine, and you probably know with your competition. Yeah. And I know for myself firsthand the difference between yourself and other sports dietitians. Yeah. But what is it that Strive does that's different to those sports dietitians?
I'd say communication and like caring about the attention to detail. Yep. Like really caring about these details that make a difference. Yep. These 1%ers, especially if you're working with athletes, these little things in plans, these nutrients, supplements, this, that, all these things make a huge difference, and we really care about these details. And also communicating with the client. Like I know you said at the start, you really want to know why. And if people want to know why, we tell them, be like, this is the reason why. Because if you sort of know why, then it's easy to implement. You're like, this is why I'm doing this. Yes. And then, okay, it's going to benefit me like this. Okay, let's do this. Of
course. Yeah, sometimes you need that almost like that little second push, because I would imagine, and I don't know what it's like for other people who you work for, but I'm just super curious about the things I'm putting in my body, and I want to know why, not for the sake of I want to go elsewhere to do it, but just what is that doing to my body? And I know these plans are very specific to people, and everyone's different. Yep. So different. And so when it comes to that, what is the motivating factor for you, just personally? And I know you said that you want to help people, but what is the other motivation that you have in order to get this deep a level of understanding to be able to communicate that with your clients?
It could be just one word, really. It's love.
Love.
Honestly, man. It's love.
That Italian love.
That's it, man.
Of course.
That's what it is. Like, that's what motivates me, man. Okay. Like the love of people, and
the love of what you do, right?
And love of what I do, and wanting to bring out the best in that person. Like, why would I do what I want to do and not try to bring out the best? Like, of course, have nutrition knowledge and then not try to bring out the best in them through nutrition. Yes. So it's if you go why, it'll go back to that word, love. Yeah. And can I be honest with you? Yeah. I felt that. I felt like when we were speaking, and as often as I would call you, I felt like you always spend the time with me. Yeah. Even if I didn't understand it at first and I wanted to do things and change things up, you'd spend the time and then you'd come back with like a revised plan that looked like it was really well thought out. Yeah, I almost was like, holy shit, man. I've started a chain reaction just from wanting to add this little thing to that plan. So it was really, for me, I felt like I was in the right place. Yeah. I felt like I was in the right place. That's good, man. There's got to be times where you've got it wrong. There's got to be time. I mean, you can't always be perfect, and the mistakes are, the greatest teacher. Yeah, of course. Can you tell me a story about a time where, okay, let's paint a picture. Yeah. In particular, combat sports. Yeah. Someone's got to make a weight cut, and they're relying on you with the information you're giving them. And I know for what you do, you have to rely on them actually doing the meals, right? Yeah, cooking it the way that you've explained and putting the proportions and whatnot. Yeah. Can you tell me a story about when it just went all wrong? Yeah. I've never got it wrong. All right. I got something for you. Okay. I can think of one that comes up to mind a lot. Not a lot, but it's happened a couple of times. When I've put recipes, I know, we put recipes in plans and stuff. Yeah. And some of the recipes, they're for like 2 serves. And someone wouldn't like read that and they skip past that. And then they eat both serves in the one. Whoa. So what that does, if you go into depth, so say the meal's 550 calories, yeah?
Yep.
So if you have both serves, then it's 1,000 and something. And then all of a sudden, if you're having that across the week, the deficit we had is no longer a deficit, yeah?
They put on weight.
Or just haven't lost the weight or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, and that's sort of on me as well, because that's like, I assume like it's there, but like I didn't, there's a, like still it's on me to communicate that.
Of course.
Like, because I do these plans all the time. So it's like, you know how to read it.
Yeah.
But then some people, they haven't seen these plans before. Oh, that was too soon. Oh, so it's actually only one, sir. Oh, so it's like, so okay, it's sort of on me, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree as well, too. I mean, you've got to place some accountability on your client as well, and depending on what sport they do as well, too. I mean, you know, a lot of these guys are getting, you know, hammered every day.
Yeah.
So sometimes when it comes to thinking about those things, I know for myself, like when I'd come back from a sparring session, my head's fucked, bro. I can't think straight. Do you know what I mean? And like having those proportions down there, clearly written out, because I understood them, it just made my life easier. And I'm meal prepped. So I would prep all these meals that you'd stated on a Sunday and just have it all ready. So I wouldn't really have to think about it.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, it's good.
Is that something that you find or you try to encourage with a lot of your fight? Are you dealing mainly with fighters at the moment?
Mainly with fighters at the moment, and I love it. I love working with fighters, man. Man, just different.
What is
breed.
it about fighters compared to other athletes? Have you worked with other athletes, like in soccer, football?
To be honest, I haven't. I've only exclusively worked with fighters, and so I'm really niched into that.
Yep. Which is great. Because like you know what it's like. You can't construct meal plans for athletes in different sports the same way because it's all different, right?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that too.
Yeah. And combat sport nutrition is very specific, like with meeting weight targets, with fight week, with rehydrate, refuel. Yeah. There's just so many layers to it. And then when you know it, and then you can just dive deeper in it.
Of course.
Yeah.
And what do you feel, there must be like a common denominator between the athletes when you're talking to most of them that you feel like they just get it wrong. Like I know I had a total misconception about protein and carbohydrates and the proportions for my body. I had when it's weird because I used to construct meal plans around what I learned on YouTube.
Right.
And then when you gave me your meal plan, it was like total opposite.
Yeah.
But the benefits from it were just exponential.
Yeah.
What do you find is a common denominator with most fighters that they just don't understand?
I think with fighters, there's like appropriate ranges of like protein, carbs, fats you should be having.
Yeah.
There's certain nutrients you need to be hitting.
Yeah.
And if you're not following a plan or you're just sort of winging it, this, that, you're probably not hitting those nutrients. You probably got too much fat in the diet or too little protein or too much protein. Because if you're not tracking it, you don't know. Like you're just sort of, it's high protein. And one day you're skipping meals, you're low. And then the other day you're like, even too much oil and then it's too high. And it's just all over the shop, you know.
So all these little small nuances make a huge difference, right?
Yeah, of course. If you're tracking it and like there's structure and there's day to day and this is what I'm eating and whatnot, it can make a huge difference, you know.
Yeah, right. And so these small increments, they kind of compound when it comes to fight day, right? Or even before the fight when they've got to do their weight cut. That's where they feel the impact of probably all of the discrepancies that have happened throughout before, especially during fight camp.
Yeah.
I know it gets pretty strict and a lot of fighters hate that aspect of fight camp and that's the weight cut.
They say that's the hardest part. Most people say the weight cut's the hardest part. The fighting's the easy part.
Of course.
They've done the training. The cut, especially if you're fighting professional where you have to, you sort of have to cut.
You have to make weight,
Yeah, you got to cut a good amount of weight. That can be the hard part. But dietitians, we're here to make that easy as well.
Yeah. Do you also give advice as to what's a safe cut compared to like, this is doable and this is like, no, this is dangerous?
Yeah.
Do you give advice?
Yeah. We've had hard conversations with clients and this is based off their body composition, what they can make safely and healthy and say, because, you know, with how the sport works, it's like, I need to be the lowest weight possible and cut the most weight. And if that's not healthy, or it's not like everything is possible, but are you gonna be healthy?
Yeah.
Like healthy doing it?
What's a weight cut that you've had to put your foot down and go, this is not going to be possible? Like, give me a weight range that someone was walking around at to what they wanted to fight at.
Usually before they decide to pick that weight class, we say no, like we just sort of said we don't recommend it, you know.
So what would that be? Is it like 15 kilograms, like 10 kilograms?
So cutting more than 5, 6, 7, 8% of your body, 9, 10. Once you're getting like towards the 10% of your body weight cutting, that's like, okay, that's serious amount of water you're losing, you know.
And for people out there who kind of don't really understand the whole concept of weight cutting, is that most fighters are led to believe that they want to be the biggest in their weight division.
Yeah.
And some fighters will walk around at a certain weight and cut down because they know height-wise, reach-wise, they're going to be bigger, stronger, they're going to have that advantage. But not realizing that cut is potentially going to strip them of energy, strip them of, you know, cognition throughout the fight as well too.
Yeah.
And so in that case, what are these hard conversations you have with these athletes?
So it's just a balancing act. So you're going to cut weight. Okay, well, let's make sure it's, you know, healthy, possible.
Yep.
And then when we cut weight, the rehydration's on point. Like we got the electrolyte drink, the sports drink, we have everything dialed in and make sure that rehydration and refuel is as good as we can get it.
Yeah. Have you ever had an athlete that was just adamant, this is the weight class I want to fight in, and you knew that this was going to be tough? Do you make that cut a progressive cut over time as opposed to just doing it, you know, 2 days, 3 days before the fight?
Well, definitely we'd want to be working together 8 to 10 to 12 weeks out.
Right.
So not like 3 weeks. We've had to like, if someone comes out and says like 2 or 3 weeks before the fight and say, oh, I need to cut weight for this. Christoph actually, the boss, he says.
Shout out to the boss.
Shout out to the boss, Christoph.
Christoph.
He says we'll probably work with you for the next fight because it's too close and we don't know your body and it's just not worth it.
That's a dangerous call for you guys as well too.
Yeah.
And it's your business, it's your reputation on the line.
Yeah.
And you don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah. And this is where a lot of these standards come off the back of Christoph and Strive is health first, having the hard conversations, not just telling people what they want to hear, even if it means, you know, not working together for that camp, but maybe for the next one.
Sure.
It's all about the athlete's health at the end of the day and their performance in the ring.
That's right. And do you guys often butt heads with the coaches?
Yeah, we have had, there's a difference of opinion sometimes. Yeah, it has happened. Not butt heads. I wouldn't say butt heads, but it's just that some coaches, they don't understand the body composition and like where we're coming from with certain things. And then you got to have to explain it. But then sometimes even when you explain it, it's still like, nah, the height and reach have to be this weight class. And you just sort of have to find a middle ground, you know, you try to find a middle ground.
But it's great to hear that you guys are willing to say no if it means that you're going to put yourself and your brand in a really dangerous position, and the fighter. Because at the end of the day, it's the fighter.
It's the fighter as well.
That's the number one priority.
It's not just the brand. Yeah. I mean the brand, but it's the fighter at the end of the day, you know. Of
course.
You make that call for the fighter.
Yeah. And when it comes to these meal plans, like you've got so many varying genres of combat sports, from boxing to MMA to Muay Thai to kickboxing.
Yeah.
Do you have a template when it comes to each of the sports and what works and what doesn't work, or is it really fighter based?
So different sports, like with boxing, you have same day weigh-ins.
Yep.
So the approach for a same day weigh-in versus a 24-hour weigh-in is completely different as far as like fight weeks and.
Okay, how is it different?
Okay.
Talk me through a same day weigh-in.
So same day weigh-in, we don't want so there's less time to rehydrate, refuel. We don't want to be too far away with the weight, and we don't want to do too much of a sauna cut.
Right.
The fight week, we don't want to drop carbs. We want to keep carbs in the diet. And then we can compare that to a 24-hour weigh-in where we do drop carbs. The fight week, there's no carbs. Not no carbs. There's still carbs, but not much. Glycogen deplete down, and then the rehydrate refuel, because we have over 24 hours, we get all that glycogen back into the muscles.
Right.
So that'd be the bigger difference. The 24-hour weigh-in, we do the water load. We do a water load. Same day weigh-in's not as important. There's just slight differences with the plans.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so is that kind of across the board when it comes to combat sports, or is MMA weigh-ins or cuts different to boxer cuts, for example? Or are they kind of similar? Like, how does that work?
So the difference is between a same day and a 24-hour. So it doesn't matter what sport.
Right.
So even if it's boxing or MMA, but MMA generally seems to be 24-hour, and boxing generally same day until you turn pro, and then that's 24-hour as well.
Right.
So they're the differences. But in saying that, I guess you could say with boxing, it might not be as big to be big.
Right.
As big,
Most boxers I know, unless they're in the heavyweight division, they're all super lean.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about being big, but whereas in MMA and like wrestling, where the big cutting and then going back, you're a bit big.
Yeah.
And that can help with like wrestling and stuff.
Of
so
course.
That's when that can kind of come into play.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've always just thought about when it comes to weight cutting that it seems like the most excruciating part of the process for fighters.
Yep.
And there's so many conflicting views about this whole concept of weight cut, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you guys weigh in on, the drama regarding weight cuts when it comes to the sport in general? Because you're on the heavy end of it, because it's really up to, you can do as much sauna and, rounds to drop water weight and so forth, but it really depends on, like, the cuts start weeks out, right?
Yeah.
And that's so important. And like, how do you, we're talking like, going up to upper echelons of the actual sport itself.
Yeah.
How do you kind of like navigate through what the sport's expecting of the fighters to what you feel like this is actually really dangerous? This is really the healthy and the kind of information that you put out for people to learn more about it.
Yeah.
And educate from a really young age, and parents to understand it too. Is that where you feel like it should start, with the parents? If they're putting their kids in combat sports?
Yeah, for sure. Parents, coaches, looking into getting an accredited dietitian early doors in your youth, in your teens.
Okay.
It can make a huge difference. Yeah, but especially when you're growing and developing in your teens and getting bigger bone mineral density, all this, getting those habits right at the start, avoiding any, as you said, the misinformation and doing too crash diets and this and that. Yeah. Getting on top of it early when you're young, as you're building into the sport, and then once you're in the middle of your career, you're just flying. You know how everything works, and
of
you
course,
can just. It's just
knowledge is power, right? And I feel like with a lot of these athletes, they fall into that whole thing where the coach knows everything, and sometimes most coaches don't know much about nutrition, if you know what I mean. They know about the skill set and technique and whatnot.
Yeah, of course.
But and aligning with guys like yourselves is really important for them. And like you said, having these parents understanding that the nutrition part of this sport that they're about to partake in is super important as well.
Yep.
How do you feel about like young kids getting into combat sports?
Yeah, if you have the dream, chase it, If you have the dream, chase it. Obviously, I think sparring probably build into that, eh?
Yeah.
I'd say, I'm not a coach, but
of course,
obviously I think getting hit in the head early when you're young,
right,
but then again, that's a sport. You got to get hit a bit, and that's hit and then whatever.
And get used to it, and know how to recover from things like that as well too.
Yeah, so maybe it's a bit of a dad in me. Like I'm not a dad, but I'd say it's a bit like, if I had a child, I wouldn't want my kid getting hit and this and that. But it's part of it,
Of course, man, and that kind of like leans into that love thing that you talked about before. You know what I mean? You're treating the fighters like they're your kids. You know what I mean? You don't want them to get hurt. You want them to be safe and happy.
Yeah.
One thing that I got a bit confused about when, especially when I got your meal plan and then understanding like my lack of understanding, I want to say, was the whole concept of the on and off days.
Yeah. Okay.
And how different the diet was on both of those days.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I got the meal plans that I really understood how powerful these two concepts are.
Yeah.
So can you explain to me what is something like really the characteristics of an on day and the characteristics like, so what I mean, we were talking about fumbling our words before we started, and I said to him, man, I've been doing this for a long time. I still fuck up all the time. We're human, baby. We're human.
That's it.
Characteristics of on and off diets for fighters.
Yeah, so an on day is a day you might train a lot, double time, like hard sessions.
Sure.
So those days we make sure there's carbohydrates in the diet. You know, you're fueled up. That pre-workout snack is super important. The carbs across the day, super important. Yeah. Having the rice, bread, pastas, these carbs on those days, very important. Whereas off days, you're not training as much, or you're training less, low intensity rest days. You don't really need carbs as much, you know. Okay. So that lowers, but protein's even more important on rest days.
Right.
Because protein obviously helps with recovery, but it's also a very satiating nutrient, which means you feel fuller when you have more protein in the diet.
Sure.
So on an off day, when you're off, like you might tend to want to snack or have a bit more. So if there's more protein on the off days, you don't tend to go for the snacking.
Sure.
So this is what the things I'm thinking about when I'm doing the plans, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And it's important too, because I would imagine when you're training as much as some of these athletes train, you're constantly hungry. And you got to be careful about what you're going to put in, because it's going to impact that training session. Yeah. And then if you are about to fight, it's going to impact your weight cut as well too. And do you have to act as a counselor for some of these fighters as well?
Yeah, in a sense, I wouldn't say counselor, but it's like you get to know them and you you support them. You want to you sort of give them that support. That's not really nutrition support. There's nutrition support, and then there's this like general support.
Of course,
and you're you're telling them, you know, these, you know, you're trying to motivate them as well.
That's
like,
it.
Because I like, you're gonna, you know, pump it, you're gonna smash this session. You're just feeding that positive energy. This is gonna help this, and you're gonna turn up on that day, and you're gonna be a machine, and just hyping them up, you know. That's the style. That's the type of guy I'm in. Yeah, like I like to like really gas people up.
You should be a corner man.
Dietitian corner man. Why not, man?
Strive corner man.
Yeah, that's it. Dietitian and in the corner as well. Why not?
Well, I mean, that's what you need, right? Like, I guess when it comes to nutrition, you're as a human, and I notice for myself, changes in my body.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes those changes are like, oh shit, am I doing it right? Or, you know, should I be doing this a little bit more? And you do start to, you become a bit introspective, and you start to freak out. And I know I still, even though like I'm not competing and training as much, I still stick to your diet.
That's awesome.
It's because it's for me, it's almost like my way of being able to control my weight.
Right.
Like I can literally control my weight with your diet. I feel like the most empowered when it comes to my weight than I've ever been. If I want to put on size, I know I've got to add an extra couple of eggs. A little bit more protein, blah, blah, a bit more carbs. Yeah. Even the concept of eating before I train. I used to train fasted. And then when I started eating some of those pre-training meals that you set for me, oh man, I was able to last so much longer.
Yeah, so good.
And some of those meals, they have this like late onset of energy as well too. So like after your training session, you're like, boom, back. And you want to go again.
Yeah.
But I mean, at my age, like I'm 51 this year, I got to chill the fuck out, right?
Yeah, you don't look it, man. You don't look it.
But did you, when I came to you guys and said, hey, I want to do this shit,
Yeah.
were you like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Bro, just
I
chill out.
remember when you first come and you said you're 50 or 49 or whatever you were at the time, and I was like, what? 49? This guy looks like he's in his late 20s, early 30s.
That was crazy. It was funny. Like and I want to talk about this later on. Was when I met you guys, we met in a boxing gym. I'm used to, whenever I've enlisted the services of a professional, going to a premises of some sort. We're sitting on a bench and you're doing fat tests while people are boxing around in this gym. It was like, this is ghetto as fuck, but it's cool.
Yeah,
it was dope, man. Like, and it was like really thorough. You were like super thorough with all of those aspects. And then when you guys gave me the sheets for my bloods, that's the first time I've actually got my bloods checked, and like
it's important.
And it's funny. My doctor said, "Man, your testosterone is flying."
Exactly what you want to hear.
I'm like, damn, baby. And that's good. And because diet plays a huge role in that too, right?
Yeah, of course.
What you're eating,
100%.
and I would imagine too, when it comes to combat sports, you need that fill of testosterone as a male fighter, for example,
of course,
to go in there. And so how, like, when it comes to diet, and just for people who are watching this, what is it that they can do to improve their testosterone?
Ooh, that's a good question, mate. I'd say just good healthy eating will help. But big nutrient I'd say is zinc. Zinc is a very important nutrient to have for health, and it also, because of it supports hormonal balance.
Is this for men and for women, male and female fighters too?
Male and female, but obviously when you're male, the testosterone is more of an important thing,
right?
So, but zinc's important because it's important for hormonal and also the immune system.
Yeah.
So that goes all together with building that testosterone. Okay. So I'd say zinc is an important nutrient. So you could have that, make sure you're having that in the diet.
Yes.
But also you could supplement with zinc, and you can pick a high absorbing zinc, zinc that's going to absorb well in the body, and that will help. That will help.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go buy a bottle of zinc after this. Okay. And this is great that we've gone to this space, because I really wanted to talk more about this. And I feel like on a lot of conversations that I hear online, they don't really go into this area, and that's the area of female fighters and the difference between, like, hormonally male fighters and female fighters, and what you have to do and construct for nutrition for female fighters. How different? Like, how different are we talking when it comes to these the nutrition for both sexes?
So women menstruate, so that's a different factor.
Yep.
That's a different factor. So there's a lot of variables you got to know about their cycle.
Yep.
And fluctuations with the weight because of that, and they're not diet based. Like they'll gain a kilo, but it's not because of the diet; it's because they're menstruating. Yep. So there's different things with that. Some women PCOS, that's common in women. So you got to know as a
What's
dietitian.
PCOS?
Polycystic ovary syndrome. I think it stands for.
Yeah.
It's a common thing in women.
Okay.
And it's important to be in the know of it.
Right.
Because then nutrition can help it and like the right supplements, the right nutrition can help with managing PCOS.
So what kind of nutrition are we talking? We talking about zinc for male fighters for testosterone. What's something that women can be, upping in their supplement intake, or adding to food?
Yeah. There's a supplement that's called inositol.
Okay.
It's one that I back. Well, we back inositol. I could spell it out. It's like inositol. That's one that can help. I'd probably say that'd be the key supplement. And then as far as diet, if you're picking a lot of the healthy foods like legumes and lentils and all these sorts of things, like it all adds up, it all adds up. Healthy eating impacts so many different things. As I said, PCOS, testosterone, mental well-being, like if
menstrual cycles as well too.
Yeah. If you get nutrition right, you're getting the right nutrients in, all these things can benefit in some way, shape or form. Yeah.
And so when it comes to, I'm sure you deal with vegan fighters as well too.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. When it comes to vegan versus the carnivore diet, and that's obviously going to be like a total shift.
Yeah.
When it comes to a meal plan created for them, for both men and for male and female fighters as well.
Yeah.
What are the deficiencies that you find that vegan fighters face compared to carnivore diets?
Yeah. So the thing about these diets is they're a bit, I call it like a fatty type of diet. And they can work, they can be effective, but are they going to be effective long term?
Right.
Because there's benefits, carnivore diet, red meat, there's benefits in having red meat.
Okay.
And then those benefits.
This is the amino acid profile. Yeah.
Yeah, like
the protein.
That. Yeah. Big benefits.
But are there amino acid profiles in the food that vegans can eat as well?
There is, but they're better. They're more essential amino acids are in meats. So that's a thing. So there's benefits with red meat and there's benefits with, like vegan diets has got a lot of vegetables, tofu, or things that can be legumes that can be very healthy in a diet. So like obviously in an ideal world, bring it all together. Let's have a balanced diet.
Yeah.
Red meat, chicken, whatever vegetables, fruits, let's put it all together. That's the ideal world. But then obviously there's reasons for going certain ways. Vegan might be because of,
Health and animal cruelty, of course.
I think animal cruelty can be one, and you can't really argue with that if it's that's what's on their heart. Yeah. You just sort of have to work with it. So as you said, with vegan diets, it's harder to get B12 because it's more of an animal-based thing. Right. So we're thinking B12, zinc, iron. There's certain nutrients that are harder to get. And then as a dietitian, we've got to be really conscious of how are we going to get this in? Either supplement, get the plant-based sources somehow. And it's not optimal, but we make it work and we try and we do our best.
Yeah, that's great that you're educated in all of the realms, if you know what I mean, and you're not kind of like typecasting yourselves to just working with specific fighters.
So
that
of course.
Everybody can come to you, and you kind of have to. I'm going to throw a curveball at you.
Yeah.
All right,
okay.
you ready?
Interesting.
All right.
Or it'd be silence. No, it'd be like 10 seconds, just me, just like thinking about the question.
Right. No, this is good. This is good because it's very important, man.
Yeah.
How, and if you've come across already, do you deal with trans athletes?
Trans?
Yes, because hormonally they're dealing with the things that they've got to put in their body to change their hormonal structure.
Right.
On top of the psychological effects of them transitioning from whether it's male to female or female to male, so to speak. Yeah. Do you have a trans athlete within your client base, or how would you approach that? Have you thought about it?
So I've never had a trans athlete. I've never had a trans athlete and I've never thought about it.
Right.
So I wouldn't know where to start. I wouldn't know where to start.
It's hot contention.
Yeah.
When it comes to sport, there's definitely camps against and for and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to know whether do you invest all this, time and energy into learning about how to mitigate what they're going through and how to construct a meal plan with regards to, their morphology and, the things that they're putting in their body to change their hormonal structure as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something to...
So that question I can answer with, I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Bro, that's probably the best way to answer that question. Because the last thing you want to do is say something that is totally wrong and somebody goes out there and does it and goes, Vinny told me.
Yeah.
Actually, I do want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
Pasta, friend or enemy?
So, as you said at the start, I think you said Italian stallion. So, it's a friend to me. It's a friend to me.
See, look at this guy. I love pasta, man. And can I be honest with you? When I have a good pasta meal, right?
Yeah.
I had a good ragu the other night.
Beautiful.
I get really weighed down. So having said that, with something like pasta, would you have to mitigate the portions if you were going to utilize it for energy to train on?
Yeah. It'd be homemade. Homemade's the best. When you homemake it, it's not with all the creamy and stuff and you don't feel weighed down.
Sure. Okay.
And then also, yeah, the portions are just all right, man. Like enough carbs, protein, plenty of protein, whether it's chicken or lean beef mince or whatever it is. Making sure those portions are right and healthy, even getting some veggies in there, like baby spinach. And,
of course, for those micronutrients, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? You know, there's these theories of like a fistful size of protein and a fistful size of greens or all that sort. Is that all bullshit?
Oh,
what if you got fucking massive fists and you're really skinny?
Yeah, man, but look at my fists, man. We went by the fist formula.
Does that work? Is that all bullshit?
Yeah, I mean, with that, like obviously when we're doing nutrition plans, we're like dialed in with grams and food scales and this and that.
Right. I got my food scales.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah,
but if some people, and they're not like have to be as dialed in and they don't want to measure stuff, then that's when the palm size and like portion control and doing healthy plates.
Yeah.
This is when these things come in. Obviously, as I said, the food scale, man. It's good, man.
Food scales, bro, honestly, that thing has been game changer.
Yeah.
It really has, because I've had a perception about my protein intake and my carb intake and just food in general.
Yeah.
And it was not until I chucked those things on the scales and saw the results.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck, man. I've got it wrong. That's another thing that I'd like to kind of like just touch on is the concept of the amount of misinformation that there is online that is called bro science, right? When it's just mates talking about shit that they've learned on YouTube. You know, how do you dispel those myths when fighters come to you with, oh, I've been doing this for a while and it works for me, blah, blah, blah?
Yeah. Well, one thing is just to be straight out. Like if someone says something in like a consult and they say, oh, I do this, and just be like, I don't know, man, there's no evidence for that.
Yeah, right.
Because we're very evidence-based.
Okay.
So if you're saying this, there's no evidence for that. Like if there might be something we can work in, but if there's something that's just complete myth and just like where did you get that from? Kind of in your head, you're thinking, you just be very honest, just because you can easily just go with the flow, like, yeah, like, oh yeah, we couldn't, just sort of go with the flow.
Sure.
But if there's no evidence for it, there's no reason to do it,
So Strive is very evidence, scientific based nutrition.
I think we got a good balance. There's obviously evidence-based, science-based, and what's practical.
Yep.
And there's obviously what works for individual people. But yeah, it always goes back to the evidence-based because we're accredited dietitians. So the evidence-based is huge for us,
Right. And I'd love to know your opinion on the difference between a dietitian and a nutritionist.
So I believe nutritionists they don't have to go uni, and you can just do a course and you can become a nutritionist.
Right.
Like just a course. I think anyone can call themselves a nutritionist, but you can't just call yourself a dietitian. You have to have done the degrees.
Yeah, right.
But a dietitian can call himself a nutritionist as well, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So it's not the other way around.
Yeah, but you're more accredited.
Yeah.
More legit.
And we have a body. It's called the Dietitians Association of Australia. Right. So we're held liable to their standards and stuff. So every niche has like, if you're a psychologist, you have the Psychological Association, and if you're a physio, you got the physio. Dietitians have a body that we're a member of.
Okay. So in regards to the body that you're a member of, you know what it's like when you have these institutions that govern the guidelines for certain things.
Yeah.
Are there certain aspects, and you don't have to talk about it now if you don't want to, of the guidelines that you're meant to follow for your accreditation that you don't agree with?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because like science is changing constantly. Food, our knowledge, our understanding of food is changing.
Yeah.
And a lot of these institutions are quite archaic. It's the same with the school curriculums and stuff. Don't get me started. But, a lot of their information was based on things that happened a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we are like learning so much more about what we got wrong.
Yeah.
And so are there aspects of it where you feel like, fuck, I don't agree with this because of the findings that are coming out right now? You don't have to go deep if you don't want to, because I don't want you to
I can think of
get
one.
into trouble.
I can think of one.
Sure.
But I don't know if the guidelines are really against it, but it's like something that we realized that how there's certain fats in the diet that are like really essential, like super essential.
Like what?
Well, there's omega-3 fatty acids.
Yep.
They're big. So that's a big one. And there's sort of monounsaturated fatty acids as well from olive oil, nuts. And you feel like some of the guidelines, like just in Australian, I don't know how much emphasis they put on fats, because they say, oh, it's especially in the 50s, they say, oh, fats are bad. Keep low fat.
Trans fats are bad, right?
Yeah, of course, trans fats from, but there's certain fats in the diet that actually help you lose fat, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Some of these fats, if you have these in the diets in good ratios, will actually help you lose fat if they're in the diets in the right amounts.
Okay.
So you don't have to go low fat to lose fat. You can have fats in the diets that are essential,
I mean, we can get deep on it if you want to, if your understanding is that deep of it. But how does a fat cancel out a fat?
So a fat doesn't cancel out a fat, but what happens is there's certain fats that make the metabolism go better. Like you're functioning
Speeds
better.
It up, yeah.
It makes your hormones on point.
Right.
You're more satiated, feeling more full, so you're not always hungry all the time.
Right, okay.
You're like metabolism's on fire. So these fats are helping that, and then because of that, you lose fat.
Right, of course.
Yeah, it's like
are they the type of fats that don't like linger around for too long in the body? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fats that just like if you digest the fat, it's what's the word? I don't know the word, but it'll sustain in the body for quite some time until you release it. Or are these quick absorbing fats? And are we talking like avocados?
Avocados are good fats.
Avocados.
Yeah, avocados are good fats.
The best.
Yeah. If we can get
Can
them,
you get omega-3 from avocado?
Not omega-3. Monos own avocados. They're
So
good
it's still
fats.
salmon? Is that the best way to get your omega-3s?
Salmon's good.
Yeah.
Salmon's good.
And what about supplements? Because I know that for myself, I've got a nice range of supplements that I take. That I don't even know if they're doing anything because I can't show it. But I know if I'm not getting sick, then maybe
that's a good
working.
sign. Yeah, it's a good sign. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about: the immune system and how important that role plays, especially with fighters.
Yeah.
Because I know from my gym, fighters are constantly sick.
Yeah.
They're constantly getting the flu, constantly getting something that they've caught in the gym or something or other.
Yeah.
How important is it for you guys to educate your fighters on the nutritional aspect of their eating that isn't seen by anybody because it's so deep and internal that it's working innately or just within their gut? How important is that gut health?
Yeah, very important.
Yeah.
Very important. If you're not getting sick in a fight camp, that's a great sign that you've done something good with your nutrition, your sleep or something.
Well, that's a great sign that you've done a great job with educating them or giving them a good meal plan, right?
Yeah. And that might go unnoticed. You're like, you didn't go get sick all fight camp, but well then that's just.
Yeah.
But then if you did and you got sick a lot, and because then if you, as you said, you get sick, you can't train as good, or you don't train at all, or you can't train as good. You get another fighter sick in the gym. Yeah. It's just a mess.
Sickness and injury. They're the two things that every fighter would fear, right?
Yeah.
Going into a fighting camp.
Yeah. And if you're having super low calories and you're not getting your nutrition right, then you can get more risks of injuries and more risks of illness. So as you said, it's very important. Like you're getting these stuff right, like in your nutrition.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I find when the meal plans that you gave me, there was a really nice mix of all of that. And I did add supplements onto it as well too, because sometimes you forget to eat a little bit of this and a little bit of that, so you need to. Yeah. Do you feel like supplements are an important part of the diet?
Yep. So Strive, we say food first, but not food only. So we're all about the food.
That.
Food.
That's dope.
Yeah, that's dope. Food first, always food first. And then what we can't get in food, that's when the supplements come into play.
Right.
And especially with working with athletes, that's when even performance supplements come into play.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. And touching on the topic of performance supplements and performance, I think we talked about this ages ago with regards to peptides and the things that some of these athletes want to put in their body to give them that edge, so to speak. And I know we talked about it, one in particular, the BPC 157.
Yeah.
More of a, repairing, restorative peptide than an enhancing peptide. How do you wade through that conversation with athletes that want to have that little edge?
Well, as far as peptides, you got to be careful if they're competing in a place, organization where you're going to get drug tested.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure some of these peptides are banned.
Yeah. Okay.
So in that case, you can't.
Even if they're not performance enhancing, they're still banned. Is it because they're not fully educated on what it actually is?
Yeah. Well, the peptide, like I think the one you're mentioning, your recovery speeds up like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's banned, because it's just
Do you think that's performance enhancing, or is this more just aiding in recovery? And that peptide occurs in the body anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're just kind of like doubling down, much like you're doubling down on vitamin D that occurs in the body, and all that sort of stuff too.
Yeah.
There's so much of that unknowing that these organizations don't want to embrace. And and I get it, because it's a fine line. Where does it end?
Yeah.
That's maybe the only peptide we know of. There's probably others that are like teetering on the edge of being a steroid or something like that. Yeah, I get that. So now you have a clinic.
Yes.
Finally,
yeah.
I don't have to go to a dodgy boxing gym to get my fat checked.
You said you liked it, man.
I did. I loved it. But this is great for you guys, because now it just shows strength, right?
Yeah.
It shows that you're just getting bigger and better.
Yeah.
So where is your premises?
So it's in Alexandria.
Yeah, which is in Sydney, New South Wales, Australia.
Yep, that's right. It's in Alexandria.
And so this facility that you've created, tell me about it. Like, what's in it now that is better than that boxing gym that I did my test in?
Oh, it's just very clean, good vibe. You feel like you walk into Strive, and it's
like, man, I want to get my fat checked right here.
Yeah, I'm part of the team. I'm part of Strive.
To get fat checked.
Yeah.
You got a DEXA scan as well.
Yes.
I'm going to do a vlog and come around and do that, but I'm a little bit worried about the findings. That's the only problem.
What do you mean you have to be worried about?
You never know, bro. You know what I mean? Like, I went and did a test at Ethos, right?
Yeah.
And man, the findings on that, I just realized, oh my God, there's so many parts of my body that are weaker than others, and it's crazy. But,
yeah.
So talk to me about the DEXA scan. Why did you choose that piece of equipment over a hyperbaric chamber or something like that?
Yeah, well, the DEXA scans, it's considered the gold standard of assessing body composition.
Okay.
I mean, the gold standard would be just like a cadaver, if you got inside of the cadaver, but
that'd be a bit weird having a dead body for people to walk in.
Yeah, maybe a little bit weird.
Frank.
So DEXA scans the next best. So we say that's the gold standard.
Okay.
And you can really see your body composition, how much muscles on you, how much fat's on you, where in the body the fat's in. Is it around the organs?
Yeah, right.
Or if it's more on subcutaneous, like on the outside. So where the fat's distributed around the hips. Bone mineral density, big one. DEXA scan shows this. So yeah, they're all keys. And then when you have a good body comp, like a DEXA scan, okay, what weight class a person can fight, or you can set up goals.
Right.
Okay, you're this. Okay, let's aim for this. You can really set up goals, and if there's your bone mineral density is good, let's that's mad. That's
so it's a more thorough way of checking
body
body composition than the clamp. What's that clamp called?
Skin fold.
The skin fold.
Yeah. So the skin fold's good because you can do it pretty frequently.
Okay.
And you can assess changes like that. So it's skin folds. There's probably the second best after the DEXA, but the DEXA's pretty.
It's deeper.
Deeper, man.
Yeah.
That's leveling up. If you're getting a DEXA scan and assessing like changes from DEXA scans,
right?
That's when you're getting results. And
how often do you think people should do something like this?
DEXA scans, probably every 3 to 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Every 3 to 6 months.
If they're a competition athlete.
Yeah.
What if can normal people just come in and get a DEXA scan?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Every 3 to 6 months. You could do it at the beginning of like a nutrition or exercise program. You could do like, this is my starting point. Okay. And then you can make a nutrition intervention based off that, where we're going to get to. And then you do it 3 to 6 months later.
Yeah, there's like a check to see progress.
Yeah.
And do you feel like something like this helps in longevity or the quality of your life?
The quality of life in a sense that you see changes, like you see something like tangible.
Okay.
So like when you see something tangible that's improved, you're like, it motivates you. I like, let's still go again another 3 months.
Of course, yeah.
But if you're not measuring, if not regularly tracking stuff or measuring, what ends up happening, maybe you fall away or fall off the bandwagon.
Of course.
Yeah.
And it's a good indication of, like how you're maintaining the health of your body, right?
Yeah.
Which what I was saying before can aid in, the quality of your life and potentially longevity as well. Because I would imagine in the DEXA scan, you'll see some deficiencies that you could, flag as potentially dangerous, right?
Yep. The bone mineral density one is one.
Right.
And that's when we know, okay, calcium, vitamin D, and some weight training or something.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
To improve that. Yeah. And that's important too. Actually, this book here, so I have a book that I place for every guest that I come on. And the book is pertaining to the guest. And Dr. Peter Attia, this book is life-changing, man. It talks about the concept of your lifespan, which is your birth and predetermined time that you're going to probably pass, and your health span, so the quality of life between then and there, and lengthening that. Because, for most part, most people, and I would imagine with fighters in particular, that those people are putting their bodies through hell for the sport.
Yeah.
And I would imagine when they decide to leave the sport, the quality of their life changes. It's different for normal people because their bodies have been through war for such a long period of time. And this book teaches you to be able to kind of mitigate that and understand how your body is changing so that you can implement strategies to make that health span last longer. So that instead of having 10 years of misery because your body's failing you, you can shorten that to maybe 2 years. You can't avoid it, but you can shorten it.
Yeah.
And I would imagine with fighters as well too, in particular. And I know a lot of fighters who are younger than I am, but walking around like 80-year-old people because their bodies are fucked. Right?
Yeah.
So how important is that for you guys to educate them on eating habits that are going to last a lifetime?
Yeah, of course.
Not just for the sport.
Yeah, that's not just for fight camp. Yeah,
no, exactly.
Yeah. And
is that important for you guys to kind of like
extremely important. That's why we have year-round nutrition. We have a nutrition for fight camp, and then we have a post-fight plan, post-fight week plan, and out of camp phase where we focus on different things.
Right.
So it's not just I diet for 8 weeks, and then I eat whatever for 2 weeks, and then another fight coming up. Okay, then I diet again, and it's just diet. But then, as you're saying, long-term
longevity,
sustainable habits.
Yes.
Nutrition, all the time, year round, on point.
So it's constant, even outside of fight camp, that they stay on point.
Not so much stay on point, but still have some sort of structure and still having some sort of focus with the nutrition. Maybe something a little bit different. Maybe it's more gut health based.
Right.
But some sort of structure, focus, and still, like you said, optimizing quality of life long term. Nutrition, eating. Getting your nutrition right, not just to make weight, but also just to live healthy and quality healthy life.
Exactly, yeah. Because when we were talking about the DEXA scan, the Dr. Attia also talks about finding out what deficiencies that your body has so that you can prepare for that. What problems in your family history are apparent where you potentially could be inheriting that, and how can you improve the quality of your life so that if it does happen, it doesn't hit you as hard. You know what I mean? It's a great book to read, man.
Yeah, it's good, man.
I highly recommend it. And, I could go deep into that book probably on another episode. But I would love to make this a part of a series that we do. And I'd love to get a panel because I can have other people here. We talk about nutrition and get just a little bit more focused on certain things. Just so that people can understand. I mean, I know today we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And look, we can go for hours and hours and hours talking about just one specific part, which is really important.
Yeah.
And I think because for me, I love mixed martial arts and combat sports.
Yeah.
I'd love to make the episodes that we do really fight specific and
Yeah,
keep
cool.
it really niche and nuanced so
Beautiful.
that, you know, other fighters or anybody in combat sports can listen to these episodes and gain a lot of knowledge and hopefully enlist your services as well.
Yeah.
So having said that, what's on the horizon for you guys? I know you got a new facility, you got the DEXA in there as well too. What moves are you making for the future for Strive and for yourself?
Yeah. Well, short term, like I'm very focused on the day to day. Like personally, I make sure I'm ticking boxes. I got things to do in the day. I'm making sure I'm hitting it. I don't like to look too far ahead.
Right.
Day to day, make sure I'm that attention to detail, not getting complacent with my clients, not just going through the motions of it. I'm putting that effort, I'm putting that attention every day. That's short term. As far as like long term, building champions in the sport, being the dietitian for the champions,
Of course,
the boxing champions, and people chasing that dream and making sure they're doing it in the best way possible and making that impact. Long term, that's what we want to do as Strive Dietitians.
Okay, cool. I'll put links to Strive up in the description as well too, man. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you,
This was like
Jay.
an off the cuff idea that we discussed, and now we're here. And bro, I've learned so much, and hopefully, people watching are going to benefit from it as well too, man.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you,
man.
my bro. I really appreciate
No
it.
worries. Thank you. God bless. Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
Let's go.